So how does a vegan go about getting like protein?
Good
Through
question.
rice and stuff, beans.
Yep. So actually all plants have protein in them. Good, how are you?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about vegan.
Yeah.
Do you eat fish at all?
No.
No, nothing like
Nope, yeah, no meat, no dairy, no eggs, yeah, no paying for things that cause the direct suffering and cruelty of another individual. Yeah. Yeah. Veganism by definition actually just means reduce your cruelty as much as practicably possible. Like for example, I could have stepped on a bug here today, or when I get in my car, I'm driving on non-vegan roads and killing tons of insects, countless insects, so it's not really practical for me to be concerned about those types of things. Hopefully we can work towards, optimizing our reduction of cruelty in our infrastructure as a whole, but until then, the least we can do, the very least, is stop paying directly. When you pay for those products, you're immediately paying for someone to have their throat slit or to be exploited, so yeah, it's super easy. Yeah.
So how does a vegan go about getting like protein?
Good
Through
question.
Rice and stuff, beans.
Yep. So actually, all plants have protein in them, complete proteins as well. So the protein that's in the meat that people are eating, it actually came originally from the plants that we fed that animal. So it's like if I wanted to get the nutrients out of your body and I fed you a bunch of healthy food and then chopped off your arm and ate your flesh, it wouldn't be really practical for me to do that. It's a wasteful process. I'm wasting water and food to keep you alive and keep you housed and all this stuff. Plus, you probably wouldn't like being enslaved and exploited for just so I could have a meal, in a fleeting palatary pleasure, a sensory pleasure. So yeah, there's so many ways you can go straight to the source of the nutrients rather than getting them secondhand filtered through the body of an individual. Plus, all meat is carcinogenic. So if we had asbestos or cigarettes, they had a little protein in them, would we eat them 3 times a day or give them to our children? No, of course not. That would be crazy. But so many people don't realize that you don't need to eat dead flesh to get nutrients. Yeah. Plus, it's resource intensive. 45% of the world's land mass is used to grow crops to feed the livestock. So we already produce enough crops to actually end world starvation 3 times over, but we're wasting them away on animals, cows that eat 6 to 12 times what a human would eat, and just to, again, chop off their body parts and have that fleeting, moment.
So is there a lot of resources out there now towards the vegan?
Yeah, there's great documentaries. A new one just came out called Game Changers. Talked about how some of our top performing pro athletes are practicing a plant-based diet. There's also What the Health, that has dispelled the myths about human health, that we depend on animal agriculture. We didn't necessarily evolve for the most part depending on these products. We did it as a social thing. We're definitely social omnivores, but biologically we're actually more herbivorous. The great apes we come from, 94% of the time they were eating plant-based diet. So yeah, there's great resources out there. Nutritionfacts.org is another great resource. They're providing abundant, peer-reviewed, double-blind, randomized controlled studies to show that you can optimize your health with this one dietary practice.
So I'm sure you're a vegan then.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing it?
About 3 years now.
3 years. You noticed a big change when you changed over?
Absolutely, yeah. I feel energized. I never feel like heavy or lethargic. In my stomach after I'm done eating a big meal. This Thanksgiving I had all vegan food and I just ate an abundance of it. I felt energized rather than tired after my meal, and that was a huge change. I used to feel pretty wiped out after a big meaty meal. I used to eat a lot of meat though. I was mainly eating meat and dairy, big glass of milk and some chicken. That's what I like to eat on a daily basis, and I just wasn't feeling right. And I didn't even notice because I've been doing it for most of my life. 27 years I had been doing that and didn't really register. And I hated salads. I hated vegetables. I didn't realize that you don't just have to eat salads. That you can eat a plethora. I eat a lot of the same things I did before: burritos, pizza, pasta. Just the vegan version that just cut out the dairy and meat and replace it with something nutrient dense like lentils and kale and stuff like that, quinoa.
There's always time for change.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, never been more important time than now.
Cool. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, nice chatting with you.